Can the show go on? BTS begin to wrap up their South America tour. Day by day, we see how the members passionately discuss how they can improve their stage performance. Sometimes these passions can boil over, as we see when V and Jin get into a heated argument about each other's performance. With so much on the line, how will these tensions affect the members? Can BTS come together and reconcile their conflict before it's too late? Hey guys, it's Jose and I'm back for another recap review of Burn the Stage. This is for episode 4. It's on You and I. There's a lot to talk about because it was a very intense episode. I think by now you know what the episode mainly focused on. So let's get right into it. Again, this is not a reaction video for anybody who's new to my channel. This is if you're expecting a reaction video. This is not it. I'm reviewing, recapping. I already watched the episode. Because this is YouTube Red exclusive content, it's automatically copyrighted and I don't need none of that on my channel. So I have to say that, guys, because in every video I might get a new viewer that doesn't know. But now that I got that out of the way, we should just go ahead and dive into it so we can talk. So the episode begins. We are still in Brazil, of course. Last episode we left off the guys arriving in Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is on March 19th. The episode starts off with Hobie walking out of the hotel, like his hotel room, and he's calling out Namjoon, Namjoon. It's super cute the way he does it, and he's like, I'm gonna support my friend Namjoon. And what happens is that on that day is when they released him and Wale. Him by saying Namjoon. Namjoon and Wale released their collaboration Change. So that we even see that, like when Namjoon walks into the elevator, I believe Jin is there, Hobie is there. Ooh, and I think it was Yoongi as well. Maybe you're wrong on that. I just have to watch that little clip again. He's like, did you guys hear it? And he's talking about the song. And while they're doing that, the song is actually playing, like Change is actually playing in the background. So the guys arrive at the venue and we see the guys backstage. The guys are about to go rehearse, and Hobie says it, but I think all the guys are, well, obviously they agree to it because we see that they do it. Hobie says well, let's go and give feedback to each other. So they're gonna rehearse their songs and they're gonna be on the side, and we see the first one up is Cookie. Cookie's gonna perform or rehearse Begin, and the guys are on the side of the stage. Something that was funny was once Cookie is done rehearsing Begin, Jin tells the other guys, and I have to quote it, he's like, do we need to give feedback to that? And he starts laughing. So what I took from it is there's really no feedback. He did a really good job. The only thing that they were saying is take it easy because, well, we know what happened in Chile. And they're just take it easy, and because Cookie's going in, and at one point he does a handstand. It's so extra, and it's really, Cookie, just go easy. Jimin is next, and he's rehearsing Lie. And this is where I was like, oh wow. I mean, we got a little bit of this in the last week's preview. At the end, because we always get a preview of the next episode, and for last week's, for episode 3, we got a little preview, and Jimin was on he was doing a solo interview. And I was like, I wonder what he's talking about. And this is what he was talking about. So basically what happens is Jimin is done rehearsing. He goes, sits next to the other members, and the members are telling him, you did good. It was cool. Good job. And Jimin is completely he feels bad. He's sitting down, he has his head down, and he's like, my voice is failing me. And the guys are telling him no, you did good. You did good. Supporting him, telling him don't worry about it. I couldn't tell the difference. I believe Jin tells him I couldn't tell the difference or anything like that, because he's telling themselves well, not themselves, sorry. He's telling them that his voice is failing him. And then we cut to his solo interview. By the way, these solo interviews are no longer the ones that we got from episode 1, 2, and 3, like they are now, I believe they're gonna be now in their hotel, either in the US or in Brazil. But this one is actually, Jimin's interview is actually in the venue in Brazil, and it's like if he like stepped away to do the little solo interview. And so he's talking to the camera and he's saying like he's losing confidence and stuff like that. Like when his voice fails him, he's really sensitive about that. And we've gotten that from these past episodes as well, where he's like tearing himself down, like he's telling, like beating himself up, about it, and saying like my voice is funny, my voice cracked. Like when he cried backstage, it was because of that and other stuff, like his mic had fallen down. But he really beats himself up for it. But I do love that the guys are telling me like, trust us, like we can't tell the difference. You sounded good. And at this point he's crying. Like when he's sitting down with the guys, he has his head down, but you can like he's wiping away tears, and he just beats himself up for it because he wants to be really good at it. And then we cut to Yoongi's solo interview, and here he says that he feels really bad for Jimin. When they first like started, he would cry every time after every TV show that they did. We're also shown a clip of Jungkook's in his solo interview, and he's talking about how he also feels really bad for Jimin. He says that Jimin has been the hardest working trainee that they've ever had. And so he says like his singing from back when he was training to now has changed a lot. But like he feels really bad that like he beats himself up for it, And in between his solo interview, where we see a little clip of Jimin backstage, and he's like laying on a couch and he's like singing, and I think he's like practicing. If that's what he's beating himself up for, oh my god, like trust me, you sound amazing when you're like at your 100%, And then Cookie's backstage there, and then we cut to another clip of Cookie in his solo interview saying that like sometimes he asks him, like Jimin asks him about his vocals, and gives him tips, but he says that he feels bad because both of their singing styles are different. But he still gives him like, I think in one part he's like telling him like you have to put your tongue down or something like that, and but he's making him laugh at the same time, so he's cheering him up, and like Jimin is laughing at the same time. So I thought that was really cute that they showed that part. And again, I think some of these clips are where like the camera's just there, like there's nobody actually like obviously the camera's recording, but how do I say it? Like it's not someone in there with them, So that right there, you can tell it's a private moment between like Cookie and Jimin because the camera's like up in the ceiling. So I thought it was really cool that they showed that. So after that, we're shown clips of the guys actually doing like the sound check where the lucky I forgot, was it 500 guys? Help me out, because I wasn't one of the lucky ones. But I think 500 of fans get picked to be present for the sound check, and we're shown clips of them actually doing the sound check, and the fans are cheering them on. Sorry. And I believe they decided on Save Me, Bepse, and Dope. Yes, those 3 songs are the ones that they decided to do for the sound check. So they show them doing that. After that, we're shown clips of like when fans are coming in, the army is coming in for the actual show. We are shown clips. Ooh, can I get it together? We are shown clips of the actual show going on, and there's this little part where it's Hobie and Namjoon in their solo interviews, because we're shown Hobie doing like his solo, Boy Meets Evil, and Namjoon is saying how it's really exhausting for him because it's like back to back. It was last year that I went to it, but I believe right after his solo, like Boy Meets Evil, they go into Cypher. If I'm not, you guys might be like, no, wrong, Jose. But the thing is, they're talking about how it's back to back, and Hobie is like going through it. He's like sweating and stuff. It's exhausting, but they're saying how he doesn't complain because he says it's like something that I get to share all over the world, and it's exciting for him rather than like it's exhausting. But do you know what I'm saying? Like he says, like it's more exciting than exhausting, so it's not something to complain about. And I'm just like, oh, he loves his art, he loves his craft, he loves to share his passion. So then the guys are done with their first show. They go backstage, and I thought this was really cute when like Hobie looks at the camera and he says, tomorrow, the next day is gonna be their second show in Brazil, and they're like, it's on a Monday. Like, are people gonna come because it's a Monday? I was like laughing because I was like, Hobie, because it could be the end of the world, and that venue is gonna be packed, and there's gonna be cars lined up outside trying to get into the parking, even though like the world is like there's asteroids coming in, like people are gonna go. So I just thought it was like really, really funny. And then after that, the guys end their second show. They show clips of like the second show they finished. So that ends the Brazilian part of the tour, and we move to March 22nd. The guys arriving in New York, and these for the 2 dates in New York. Well, it's in Newark, New Jersey, but it's like right on the edge of New York. So I think that's why they just put New York. And these are for the 23rd and 24th, but they arrive on the 22nd, and they're doing all the press tour, like all the interviews that they're doing for Billboard and for, they did some for magazines too, I believe. And then like for TV shows where they're talking about like how they're doing their shows here in the US for the tour. So we're now entering the 23rd and the 24th. These are the actual dates for the shows in Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center. I went to the one on the 24th. Just wanted to say that. Okay. And so the first part that were shown, sorry guys, I was just like remembering, okay, I went on the 24th. Hey. It was amazing. Okay, but anyway, let me get back to this. Keep it professional. Okay. So the first thing that we're shown is what happens on the 23rd. And let's get into it, because the rest of the episode is focused on what happened on the 23rd. So the guys are backstage and they are getting ready, obviously. And Namjoon is like hyping them up. I would maybe not necessarily at that exact moment that he's hyping them up, but he's telling them like, guys, this venue is bigger than the ones that we've been in for the past dates. So they start talking about the choreography, and I'm thinking, I mean, don't take my word for it, but what I think is what I got is that because it's a bigger venue, they need to maybe expand more for the choreography so that they can fill the stage even more. That's what I gathered from it. Because I mean, I don't think they would want to like stay like all, like in a smaller, because I don't know the right terminology for like choreography, but I think you know what I'm saying, like in a tighter space. Like they're like, let's take advantage of like this big space. Yeah, basically that's what I got from it. And so they're going into it and they're talking about like, yeah, move here, move there, and he's like telling them like, guys, come on, let's do this. And then we go into Tae telling Jin, there's this part in Spring Day, and I know you know because we love Spring Day. And so there's this part where like Tae is on the side when they're doing their performance, and he's like kneeling down. Jin goes to like pick him up, not like physically pick him up, you know what I'm saying, like to join the other guy. So obviously it's like a whole story with the choreography, and like Tae is telling him, you need to go faster, but like he doesn't do it like in a demanding way. He's just like saying like a constructive criticism, And so Jin disagrees. Like Jin is like, I am doing it like you're telling me. So basically Tae is like telling him like, you need to go faster so that I could join as like at the same beat. And Jin is like, I'm doing it, I can go faster, I'm going at the best, I'm doing the best that I can. At a certain point, like Jin is like frustrated, and so like Tae catches on, and there's a part I believe where like Tae tells like Jin like, I don't mean to like upset you or anything, And then we're shown like this clip of Jungkook in his solo interview, and I have to point it out because it shows how like he's grown as well. He says that when they started out, like when he first joined, he was very possessive and selfish. Cookie says that like everything that was his, but also everything that was theirs, like the members, was also his. So like everything was his. He wanted everything for himself. And he said that like the guys taught him not to be like that. And because he learned not to be like that, he caught on that in this very moment, both of them were being selfish by bringing up this whole, or not by bringing it up, maybe just arguing over it, you know, like escalating it. So they're in it, guys. Like Tae and Jin are not like screaming or yelling, because a fight argument doesn't have to be like screaming or yelling or anything, but you can tell it's heated. Like they're having an argument, they're in disagreement. J-Hope tells him like, come on, let's it's not worth like fighting over, like we're about to go on. I believe at some point they're like, it's like 10 minutes to the show, like we can't be doing this. And like Namjoon is shown, Jimin is there, I think all the guys are there actually, but from what I caught on, like Jimin is sitting on a couch and he's like looking. Namjoon joins and it's heated, and I'm just like, come on guys, like let's not do this, we're about to go on stage. But I do like that Jimin and Namjoon both say, well, first off, Jimin says, I think both of you are wrong. Like, just to like, I believe, like, just to comment, like, both of you are wrong. Like, let's not do this. Namjoon is telling you there's no one right or there's no one wrong. Come on, let's go. Like, we shouldn't be doing this right now. It's nobody is right and nobody is wrong. And when he says that, like, Jin steps up, goes towards Tae, grabs onto his shoulder, and he tells him, no, it's my bad. I took it as a joke and you were talking just about the choreography. I'm sorry. Like, and you can tell in his face that he is sorry. Like, he's not just saying it just to say it. I'll talk more about why like it gets me like this. Okay. But you can tell in Tae's face that he's like frustrated. I can tell. Like, in my opinion, like, I don't know what was going through his mind at that very moment. It could be a numerous things. So they start heading over. They're like literally about to go on stage. So they're like, we need to go. Like, just come on, Tae. Like, come on. Tae at this moment, like, he, after this, like, when Jin steps up and like apologizes and says like, I'm sorry, it's my fault. Like, Tae doesn't say anything anymore. At least from what we're shown, he doesn't speak anymore. He's completely silent. He's serious. I think in his mind, a lot of stuff is going through his mind. We see he's crying because when the camera catches him going towards the stage, like, he's already like crying. They're about to go on stage. We're shown Namjoon hugging him, and I'm just like, oh my god. He's obviously cheering him. Like, we're not shown what he tells him. But he's talking to him and he hugs him, and I'm willing to bet that he's telling him like, come on, it'll be okay, like everything's okay, like we'll talk about it later or something like that, you know, just cheering him up, like, come on, let's do this, we can't do this without you, you know, something like that, I feel. And he hugs him and he's crying. And so then they gather up, they're about to go on stage, they huddle up. Namjoon, being the great leader that he is, I have to point this out, he tells the team, the guys, this isn't about V or Jin or RM. Let's do, like, he could have just said this isn't about V or this isn't about Jin. But he includes himself in there because he is so selfless. Like, he is, let me bring it down. Because I aspire to be that way. That selfless person, you know what I mean? He like includes himself in, like, this is about the fans, this is about the army. Because I didn't point that out, but backstage he says, come on, let's not be amateurs. Like, our fans waited in line for us. We can't be fighting right when we're about to go on stage. Come on. And so he says that, like, it's not about V, it's not about Jin, it's not about RM. Let's do this. And I'm just like, oh my god, like I know that added more to it too, like not to make them feel like more angry or anything like that, maybe angry at themselves. Maybe Jin and Tae are like, oh my god, he's so right, like why did we even do this? And so they start the show, and Tae in his solo interview is telling himself like, he says that in those moments he was thinking like, why did we fight when it wasn't a big deal? He felt unfair, but he felt that it was unfair. Sorry, like Jin made him feel unfair, but his intention was not to cause a fight. So that's what I mean by like a lot of stuff could be going through his mind. He's be like, why, like why? And oh my god, like now I have this feeling right now. I don't feel 100% myself. So much pressure. They're in the Prudential Center. Sorry, Prudential. I can't even speak. Prudential Center. This is huge. So he probably felt like guilt, and that's hard on him, you know? And then we're showing Yoongi in his solo interview, which I have to point out because it's so true. And this is where I'm gonna try not to get emo again. Okay, so he says, it's okay to fight. My mom gave birth to me, and I fought a lot with her. I fought a lot with her growing up. And it's normal to fight, but depending on how they deal with it is what can affect the teamwork. So basically, it's like we need to deal with it to be able to like get past through it. We can't just like let it stay. And when he said that, I was like, oh my, like I was already so, I had a knot like in my neck, in my throat, because of it reminds me a lot, because I have an older sister. And yeah, I'm not an artist. I'm not about to go on stage and perform and stuff. But it just brought a lot of memories of like when you're arguing with somebody. You didn't mean to cause an argument, but it led to that. And you might say stuff that like hurts them or offends them, or like Jin said, like I thought it was. I took it as a joke. Maybe you're joking and you go too far. And it just brought a lot of memories of like hurting her. And also like when Yoongi said about the mom part, that is so true. When I was younger, I would argue a lot. I would fight a lot with my mom. And it just brought me back of like, it would come to the point where I would make them cry. And so it just, like we fixed it and we would talk it out too. But it just brought me back of like, stuff like that. I was like, was it really necessary, you know? And I'm gonna try not to. Okay, sorry guys. I can do this. Okay. Okay. You guys are here for like a recap review, not for me like getting emotional. I'm sorry guys. Okay, so the show ends and they're backstage and they meet up. Hobie says like let's meet up afterwards. So they are shown at the hotel. All the guys are there. There's cameras there, obviously recording them, but there's not like a cameraman or camera person. They're talking it out. They are all putting their opinions in. Namjoon, Yoongi, Hobie, and Jimin as well. He speaks up and he's like, Tae, you gotta remember, and you also, Jungkook, he's older than us. Like Jin is older than us, so we have to respect him. And like Tae says, like, and I'm sorry about that. And like he didn't want to like offend him or anything like that. And like Jin, oh god, and because I have to point it out. This is what he says. Jin tells them, I try not to impose myself on you guys because I think pridefulness is good for nothing. That speaks so much about Jin because he is the oldest member. And he could use that, you know? Like he could tell them, like, yo, I'm the oldest. Like, you can't be talking to me like that. You know what I mean? But he doesn't. Like he said, because I think pridefulness is like, what? Like that's not anything like important to him. So he likes to joke around with the guys. And we know this about Jin. We know his personality. Like I even joke around saying like he's the he's a member of the maknae line, even though he's the oldest. But like Jimin tells him, like, remember, like, he is the oldest, and you, like. But I that also speaks a lot about Tae, because the moment that Jimin says that, like, Tae does like, he says, and I apologize for that. I didn't want to offend. And he says, like, when I brought up the choreography, like the point of the choreography, or the part about the choreography, sorry, it's like, it wasn't my intention. Like, I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm doing this to offend him, you know. But obviously it didn't land the way he wanted it to, because it caused an argument. So something that Namjoon says also, that, like, he tells them, like, you affected the team in some way. You affected the show. The staff was all around. It looked very serious. It was like, it was unprofessional. And he says, I think we need to know when to back off sometimes. That doesn't mean you're losing. It's for the sake of the team. And that's such a great thing to say. And of course, he's the leader, so it just shows a lot that how great of a leader he is. But it's so true, even in life. Sometimes you have to back off and be like, you know what, that doesn't mean I'm losing. It's just like, does it really... Sorry, guys. Is it really worth it, you know? And it takes a lot to do that, because when you're in the moment, trust me, guys, I go through it a lot. I argue with my boyfriend. I argue with family members, friends. Sometimes you're arguing and you're so heated that, like, you can't do that. But it takes a lot to, like, be like, you know what? What's the goal in this? Like, we're gonna argue and we're gonna cause something that shouldn't be there, you know? Of course, if we talk it out, that's great. But, like, sometimes it's best to just, like, you know, no, stop. It doesn't mean that you're losing. It's just, is it really worth this? And most of the time, it's gonna be no. Most of the time, because there might be something where it's, like, completely offensive, you know? And in those moments, yeah, sometimes you gotta call somebody out. But most of the time, it's gonna be someone that you love. It's probably gonna be something that it's not worth fighting over, you know? Jimin in his solo interview says that he likes that when they fight, they group up together to talk it out. And he says that because of that, he gets the feeling of they'll be together for a really long time. And it's really cute, because the guys, as like, the conversation is kind of like settling down, you know, like it's not that, like, it was heated or anything, but how do I say it? It's like towards the end of their conversation, the guys stand up and they're like, it's a good thing that you fought about choreography and not about food. So obviously they're trying to make it seem a little bit lighter, you know, a little bit like, okay, we got through this. And it was pretty cool how, like, Jungkook and Hobi said that, like, one time they did fight about food, like, they fought over a banana. And Cookie says that, like, Hobi throws it at him. Well, threw it, and in that moment, like, when they were fighting about it, that Hobi was like, he just threw the banana at Cookie. So I just thought it was real cool that they, like, showed that. And then they're, like, pretending like, okay, well, let's leave, and, like, they're like, stand by, like, we need to film this. And then they're like, we just need to leave because they're shy and they're gonna hug, like, teasing the guys, you know, because they're about to leave Jin and Tae by themselves to talk it out. So the guys leave, and Jin and Tae are apologizing. It's just them together by themselves, and they are apologizing. He's like, I'm really sorry. Now I know what ticks you off, you know, and I'm really sorry. And, like, Tae is crying when he's apologizing, and when Jin is talking as well. Jin tells something that, like, really stood out. You see the bright and funny side of me, but I also get depressed very often. I'm just trying to stay positive for you guys. I do have my dark side too. And this is so, like, because we see Jin being this, like, bright and funny guy and stuff like that. But we also know, and this could be in anybody in your life. If we see somebody who's always happy and cheerful and stuff like that, we know that they also have their dark moments too. So maybe with that, Tae, like, now, obviously he now knows, like, you know what? Jin isn't just all like fun and games, you know, he gets serious moments too, and maybe we should like talk more about that. I hope Jin feels comfortable enough to talk to the guys about that too, because that could be something serious too, you know, when he says like, I also get depressed very often. That like, I was like, oh my god, you know. But I know the guys talk a lot amongst each other, and like when they're having down moments, I know they can lean on each other. This episode proved it a lot, you know. And when Tae's crying, I was like, Jesus, don't. And I felt for him because, of course, you don't have to cry to mean something, but it just shows how much he cared and how much he feels bad for causing it, or for being a part of it, and for hurting Jin at the same time. You just know he regrets it, you know? And it's pretty cute because Jimin is seen on the side. Like, Jimin is creeping, like he's coming in. And I just know that shows a lot of his personality as well. I think Jimin wants everybody to be happy. I think all the guys want to be happy as well. Like, all the guys want everybody to be cool. But Jimin is just like, he goes in and he's like, we all have challenges, and I just feel that's why we all get along. And then Tae's like, let's get a drink after this. And then Jimin's like, yeah, get a drink and talk about it amongst each other, talk about it together. And then Jin is like, stop butting in, and he's like, come on, let's go. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but like there's the windows, and in the reflection of the windows, I caught Jimin wasn't doing anything. He was like grabbing things. I feel like he was like, let me pretend I'm doing something to like be in here and like make it better for them, and like I want to be okay with my brother. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but in my head, I'm like, that is so cute. Cause he's like Jimin tells him, stop butting in. And like, Jimin is like, come on, like, let's go. Like, he's like, come on, let's go. And so they go, they leave. But after that, in their solo interviews, Jin and Tae are talking about how, it's something that there is their strength is that they talk it out. And something that Tae says is that, they settled that night, and, he knows that's not going to be something that's going to be between them anymore. And he says that he actually feels like that brought them closer together. And then Yoongi says that, he's like, you think we never fought? You think we never argued? Like, I lived most of my time with these guys. And he says, like, of course we argued. But he says their strength is that they talk it out no matter whose fault it is. And then there's just a little clip, Jimin saying, these guys are awesome. Like, it's just a little bit like that they end it. And then we end the episode, and I was like, oh my god, these editors know exactly how to do such a great docuseries. They're rehearsing, and the episode ends with the part in the Spring Day choreo where Jin goes towards Tae, and then they join the rest of the guys for the choreography. I was like, oh my god, like, that was perfect that they ended it with the part that they were talking about in the choreography that caused this, but now they're in a better place. Stay tuned to episode 5. Thank you so much, guys. I made it without crying. Thank you. And like, comment, subscribe, share, and until next time, adios.